Hello, my friends. We're taking a look at the quality flow today. This is a very important part of the entire PMBOK guide, because when you really break it down, you're trying to achieve quality in a deliverable. And your hope is that through achieving your perspective of quality, it will align with the customer's perspective of quality. So you first of all need to do a thorough job in planning quality management. And when all is said and done, this is what you want to see happen. You want to go from develop project charter to developing the project management plan to directing and managing the project work to control quality to validate scope and then back into integration to close project or phase. That is really what you want to see happen. Now, develop project charter gives the project charter to develop project management plan, which then gives the project management plan to direct and manage project work, which then gives deliverables to control quality, where we check the deliverable, and if everything goes according to plan, we have a verified deliverable. And then in validate scope, after reviewing and inspecting that deliverable, what do we get? Accepted deliverables. And then what happens to that? It goes to close project or phase, and from there we get the final product, service, or result transition. And that pretty much is the short story of the entire PMBOK guide. Okay? Develop a charter, develop a plan, direct and manage the work, check the final product, send it to the customer approves, close out the work. Now, in between here, develop project charter, and here, close project or phase, there are a number of things that happen. There are injections into the system. Think about it like this. Direct and manage project work gives you an output. Work performance data. Work performance data could make a trip to a number of places, and I'll just show you these in red. Work performance data could go there. Work performance data could go there. See? And you could get an output from control quality, work performance information, and the same thing from here, work performance information. And where does this go? To monitor and control project work. You see this? So this is how you need to think about the PMBOK guide. If you watch my previous video where I talked about viewing things visually in the PMBOK guide from a visual perspective, you might find this helpful if you found that helpful. So, events leading up to defect discovery. You discover a defect and you reject the deliverable. Where does that happen? Where do you discover a defect in a deliverable? It's in control quality, right? And where does deliverable rejection happen? From the internal firm creating the deliverable, it happens in control quality. So it starts off with direct and manage project work. The team is working. The team is giving you these great inputs to the process. They're working the process. People are working hard. But at the same time, you are also carrying out managed quality, because as you're working, you should be checking your work, not the final product. You're checking your work process. Okay, that's managed quality. Now, ultimately, you get deliverables, and like I showed you, that goes to control quality. And you have this situation where your deliverable is checked, and if you find it to be defective, then you get a change request, and that change request goes to perform integrated change control. And right here, bear in mind that we have people reviewing the change requests that are not always the change control board. They could be the change control board, but they're not always the change control board. It could be any approving authority that has been given the permission and the authority to do that. And then ultimately, these folks make a decision as to whether to approve the change request or reject it. And if it's approved, that becomes an input, not only to direct and manage project work, but it also becomes an input to control quality. And I'll show you why that is the case. If you approve a change request and you are reworking things, when you are checking the rework that you did from this approved change request, you've now reworked it into the deliverable. You also need to be checking it against this approved change request, not the old project management plan, not the old specs, but the new ones. And that's why this is an input to control quality as well. Now, this could continue happening round and round until something gives. We need to find our deliverable fit for use internally as we check. So let's take a look at events leading up to defect discovery and verify deliverable rejection and validate scope. So as usual, you're working the process, you create deliverables, it goes to control quality, it gets checked. Now, instead of you having a rejected deliverable, in other words, a change request, you are going to get a verified deliverable from here, which means there's a stamp of approval on it. Now, the verified deliverable is what goes to validate scope. The customer is going to check it. Oh, the deliverable is a kite. The customer is checking the kite. The customer is not happy with the kite, so we have a change request. It goes back into perform integrated change control. The whole approval process could happen again until we get to an approved change request, let's say. And the approved change request again goes into direct and manage project work. But there's a very important relationship I want to bring out here. This relationship is not captured a lot, and I want to emphasize it. There is a loop, as it were, between manage quality and control quality. So there's some things that go from here in here, and there's some things that go from here back in there. So when you really boil it down, what is happening? Well, you're taking your findings from control quality, you're putting them back into manage quality. What do we call these? Quality control measurements. Your quality control measurements, they are going into manage quality because you're analyzing why the deliverable has a defect. You see, so assuming the deliverable was caught to be defective here, you would have quality control measurements going back in here for you to analyze what happened. Why are these deliverables defective? So don't miss out on that loop between control quality and manage quality and the loop going back in, because you have those quality reports. So it's a two-way street here. Okay, you got your QCM and you've got your QR going back in. These are things you want to keep note of. So ultimately, this could happen again and again and again and again until we get to a point where, after creating the deliverable, after the lady has checked on the conveyor belt, the customer now finally accepts that deliverable and says, there's my stamp of approval, I'm giving you acceptance, and that accepted deliverable becomes an input to close, project, or phase, and ultimately you get the output, the final product, service, or result transition. You transition that final product to the customer. And when that happens, there's happiness in the eyes of the customer, the end users. Everyone's happy, they've got their deliverable, and that's where the story ends. So, my friends, that was an excerpt, just a tiny little excerpt from a much wider body of information. It's a book on visualizing the PMBOK guide. And if you are a visual learner, that book will likely be of great help to you. So I want to encourage you to pick up the book by going to the website www.praizion.com. That's Praizion. Right there, scroll down and look for the PMP Exam Fix book. It says Critical Tools and Outputs. Click on that and it will take you to where you can get a PDF download right away. And you will be able to study the PMBOK guide content by using this study aid to visualize what is being spoken about. It is not represented like this in the PMBOK guide itself. And that's why I would recommend you getting this if you're a visual learner. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. And I wish you all the best. You do know that if you're studying in 2020, the book that you need to be studying at any time, whether in January, February, March, April, May, all the way down to December, you need to be studying the 6th edition. I have to say, because a lot of people are confused, it is the 6th edition. 7th edition isn't coming out just yet. Okay? Thanks for joining me and all the very best. Bye for now.